Hi, everyone. I hope you've been having a great time at TDX so far over the last 2 days. Welcome to our session on growing your business with Data Cloud-based personalization. This session is going to be centered around both B2B and B2C commerce. My name is Amulya. I'm the product manager for buyer groups, entitlements, markets, pricing, and internationalization for B2B commerce. And I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Saket Jain. I'm going to let him steal my limelight for a minute to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I am Saket, and like Amulya, I work with the product team. I'm a product manager for the analytics domain for Commerce Cloud.
Thanks, Saket. With that done, first things first. Before we start, I'm required to inform you that no matter how cool the demos that you see today are going to be, all purchase and investment decisions must be made with careful consideration and discussions with your sales team. With that done, I'd first like to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your continued partnership with Salesforce. And thank you for taking out your valuable time and coming to our session today. Saket and I will try our level best to make this worth your while. With that, let's move on to the session overview. There will be 5 main parts to today's session. We'll start with an introduction to unified commerce with Data Cloud, followed by how to set up Data Cloud for commerce, both B2B and B2C. We'll then move on to some interesting case studies on Data Cloud powered personalization for B2B commerce, and followed by some interesting case studies for B2C commerce. And finally, we'll end it up with understanding merchant productivity enhancing dashboards for both B2B and B2C commerce powered by Data Cloud. Introducing unified commerce with Data Cloud. Our unified commerce portfolio provides easy to set up, extensible capabilities that allow you to grow your business across multiple channels, whether it is B2B, B2C, order management, payments, or point of sale. The power of unified commerce is exemplified with Data Cloud, which forms a single source of truth for all of your customer data. Now, Data Cloud plays a very crucial role in unified commerce by integrating and harmonizing your customer data across multiple touchpoints, forming a single customer profile that can then be targeted with tailored and unique customer experiences. Let's talk about this with an example. So in today's world, there are multiple different touch points for a customer to interact with your business, whether they are calling up customer care with some kind of issues with their orders, or they are interacting with your marketing emailers, or whether they are browsing or searching or placing orders on your storefront. In all of these cases, all of these customer actions flow into a single unified customer profile that is built in Data Cloud that allows you to create tailored experiences for your shoppers across all of these touchpoints. So in a nutshell, Data Cloud creates a single source of truth for all of your customer data, allowing you to create unique tailored customer experiences. It has super low cost of implementation, and it provides a very fast time to value to set up these personalization experiences and merchant productivity enhancing dashboards. Over the next few slides, we will take you through how to do each one of this, how to set up personalized experiences for your shoppers based on their customer attributes and customer actions. Now, when we talk about personalization in the shopper lifecycle, there are 4 broad stages to the shopper lifecycle. The first stage, I want you to all put on your marketing caps when you're thinking about these 4 stages. The first stage of the shopper lifecycle is the acquisition stage. This is where, let's say you've launched a new selection of products in your catalog, and you want to drive customers towards that selection. So how do you do this? You target your customers based on their attributes. For example, let's say you launch a new collection for women that's targeted for women in Bangalore that are from a specific age group, and you launch it on Women's Day. So this is a classic example of how you would drive traffic towards the selection by targeting your promotions and your, personalizing the storefront for that specific group of users that you think would be most interested in your selection. The next stage of personalization in the shopper lifecycle is the engagement stage. In this stage, you would target shoppers who have previously shown some kind of inclination towards your products or selection. For example, folks that may have searched for your selection or browsed or maybe added to cart or added to wish list. So all of such shoppers can be then targeted based on their engagement data in order to incentivize conversion. And that is what you would do in the engagement stage of the customer lifecycle. The third stage is the retention stage. And in this stage, you would try to address funnel drop-offs. So, customers that may have added something to cart and then later realize that the product has run out of stock, or they might just forget about it and then abandon their cart and leave the platform. So in all of such cases, you would try to get them back to the platform with, say, abandoned cart notifications or back in stock notifications, which all form part of targeting in the retention phase of the shopper lifecycle. The final stage of the shopper lifecycle is the reactivation stage, where you would try to get shoppers who have already placed an order with you back to the platform by incentivizing repeat purchases and repeat shopping. Awesome. Now that we've spoken about where the 4 stages of personalization, let's talk about what exactly you can personalize in commerce today. So broadly, there are 4 different things that you can personalize. The first is, remember the whole Women's Day banner and shopper experience that we were talking about? So you want to show that banner only to women from that specific age group. That is a classic example of differentiated storefront experiences for a specific target cohort. The next form of personalization is curated pricing and promotions, where you would create promotional campaigns that are targeted at a specific target audience. Why do you do that? Because promotions are typically associated with a spend. So in order to maximize your returns on the promotional spend, you would want to target the promotional offer at users that are most likely to convert. And how do you do that? By creating a target cohort of users who are most likely to purchase your products and targeting them with your curated promotion offer or your price or differentiated pricing. The third type of personalization that you can do is, of course, personalized messages that accompany your promotional offer and try to get users to your to the platform. And the fourth is targeted recommendations, where you would show recommendations that are most relevant to a user based on their actions on your storefront. Now, Data Cloud for Commerce has 3 major pillars that we'll be covering in the next few slides. The first pillar is Connect and Enable, which involves setting up Data Cloud, setting up your data kits, and linking Data Cloud with your B2B and B2C commerce storefronts. The second pillar of DC for Commerce is personalizing shopper experiences. So this is where you would go to DC, create your target segments, and associate those segments with buyer groups in commerce that can then be targeted with differentiated experiences, promotions, pricing, etc. And the final pillar of Data Cloud for Commerce is boosting merchandiser productivity. This is where you would create dashboards on top of your data that's flowing into Data Cloud to understand how shoppers are interacting with your products and how shoppers are placing orders on your platform. With that done, I will give it over to Saket to take you through the first pillar.
All right. Thank you, Amulya. That sounds super interesting that we can now set up Data Cloud for Commerce. Businesses can leverage the data that's residing in the commerce and boost merchant productivity. So, targeting the first pillar, how do we set it up? Talking about setup, we heard from our customers that setting up Commerce Cloud and Data Cloud together could be a cumbersome process. The process that needed a lot of steps to be carried out, a lot of permission sets to be assigned, just so that the connection's done. So what is done now is this process is simplified. Now, you land on the Setup Data Cloud for Commerce page. What you would see is a section. This section is talking about the basic configuration that you need to do. You need some permission sets. You need to connect a few out-of-the-box connectors. You just click a button. As soon as the button's clicked, the steps are done. The Data Cloud was provisioned. The setup is done. Followed by that, you get access to the features that are there. You want to enable some intelligent analytics. You want to build segments. All of that put together in a single place where you choose what is being done. Now, the analytics that we just spoke about is just within your Commerce 2.2 app itself. So with this, the process is simplified. Now, while all of this is automated, what is actually happening in the background? So what is provisioned is that you can have your data getting generated from different sources. You can have your own data lake. You can have engagement events captured within your storefront. With the help of connectors that are already inbuilt within the Salesforce ecosystem, we get this data to Data Cloud. Now, the connectors that we support today are CRM connector, B2C connector, OCI connector, along with the mobile and the web app connector, so that your business, the data that is needed for your business to succeed, is now available within Data Cloud. Within the automation, what is also carried out is, with the help of bundles, streams are deployed, which basically converts these data lake objects into DMOs. Now, once these DMOs are available within your Salesforce org, post that, it's up to you on how you want to use the data. The data is there, it's structured right now. On top of that, you want to build dashboards, you can do that. You want to build segments, you can do that. And we'll be covering a couple of those scenarios in the upcoming few slides. But that's basically what's happening behind the click that you just did, which did the setup, and you are now all set to explore the features that we have built in.
Super awesome. Thanks, Saket. Now that we've covered how easy it is to set up Data Cloud for Commerce, let's talk about setting up your personalization experiences that I've been talking about for so long. So we'll start with B2B commerce, where broadly, setting up personalization involves three things. The first is you would create your target segment of users that would refresh with near real-time frequency. The second stage is setting up those differentiated storefronts and connecting them to those target user segments. And the third is creating targeted promotions and again, adding a promotion segment that would associate that promotion with your target segment. So let's talk about a case of Alpine Coffee B2B. Alpine Coffee B2B is a B2B commerce customer that sells coffee beans and coffee machines to cafes and distributors that are located throughout the United States. Now, these guys have launched a new collection of protein bars that they're calling the Bigfoot bars. And they want to incentivize their high-value shoppers to purchase Bigfoot bars by giving them a 20% offer on this new selection. Now, how do they define high-value shoppers? High-value shoppers, as far as Alpine Coffee is considered, are cafes and distributors that have ordered for more than $1,000 and more than $300 at least in one order, at least more than $300 in one order. And they want, in order to again maximize the return on promotional spend, they want to target this to only customers that have recently purchased Alpine Coffee machines. So this is a pretty complicated targeting criteria that they have. And the marketing manager for Bigfoot Bars now calls up the commerce administrator, Lauren, and puts her to task. Now, fortunately, Lauren had attended our session on growing your business with Data Cloud based personalization, and she knew exactly what to do. So let's follow along as Lauren gets this done. So the first thing that Lauren does is navigate to Data Cloud and create a data segment there. How does she do that? She goes to Data Cloud, clicks on New Segment, selects a standard segment, and then goes ahead and selects a data space. A data space is set as default if both your Data Cloud and Commerce are part of the same org or the same instance. Then she selects that the segment should be created on the individual DMO. The individual DMO has a many-to-one relationship with accounts in Commerce. So every individual is mapped to a single primary account. So she selects that the segment has to be created on individual DMO and clicks next. Then she selects a publish schedule. So she selects that the segment needs to be refreshed every 12 hours. And she selects a start date and end date for the segment. Why is it important to set a start date and end date for your segment? Because A, you don't want your promotion running forever. And B, Data Cloud credit consumption can be optimized by ensuring that your segment ends after a specific period in time. Once that's done, Lauren saves her segment and she's redirected to a screen where she's able to now define the target user criteria. And she's also able to see that the segment has a population of 20 users, which is the total number of users on her commerce storefront. Next, Next, she goes ahead to define the segment rules. So the segment rules are defined on two DMOs. The first is sales order product DMO, where she goes and specifies that she wants only users that have placed orders for the product ID that is the same as that of the Alpine Coffee machine. And on the sales order DMO, she goes ahead and specifies that she wants to target all shoppers that have placed orders worth at least $1,000 in their entire lifetime, and at least one order of more than $300. Exactly the conditions that the marketing manager had asked her to set. So once she's done with defining her segment criteria, she notices that the segment has a population of exactly one shopper or one account that qualifies for this criteria. She tries to figure out which this account is. So she goes to Data Explorer and sees that this is the account ID that corresponds to the rules that she has defined. So in Data Explorer, she can open sales order DMO or sales order product DMO and check which users qualify for the criteria that she has defined. Once she's done, she goes back to the commerce workspace and tries to figure out who is that account that corresponds to that account ID. She sees it is Mocha Mania. Mocha Mania being one of the cafes that purchases from Alpine Coffee B2B and now qualifies as a high value business account. Now that's done. The final thing that Lauren has to do is to define her target segment, is to link that target segment to a buyer group in commerce. So now she navigates back to B2B commerce, selects a new buyer group, which is of the type Data Cloud based buyer group. Always remember that a buyer group should always be associated with a store. So she makes sure to associate the buyer group with her store, which is Alpine B2B, and then selects that the buyer group has to be associated with the Data Cloud segment that she just created. So that was ordered Alpine coffee machines worth at least $300. Perfect. Now that she's assigned that segment to her buyer group, she's all set to define the personalization experiences. So the first thing she does is create targeted promotions. And here's where it gets really interesting. She decides to use the merchant agent to do that. So she logs into commerce, opens merchant agent, and tells the agent, "Hi, I want to create a promotion." The agent asks her, "What kind of promotion do you want to create?" And she says, "A 20% discount on Bigfoot bars." And ta-da, the merchant bot creates it for her. And now the next thing she does is she just remembers that the segment has to be targeted towards the segment, the promotion has to be targeted towards the segment she just created. So she asks the agent to make sure that the promotion is targeted to that segment. The agent takes care of that, and we should be done in another 30 seconds, and we're good. So the agent asks for the exact name of the buyer group. So she makes sure that she gives the name of the buyer group, and the promotion gets created with the promotion segment associated with it. That is the same as the buyer group that she has just created. Awesome. With that done, the final thing that she has to do to curate the personalized experience for shoppers is create a differentiated storefront. Now she goes to Experience Builder, and she creates what's called an expression-based variation. So all of you who are familiar with B2B commerce would know about visibility rules. So any component on the storefront can be associated with a visibility rule that says that, hey, this banner should be shown only to shoppers that are from a particular buyer group. That's exactly what she's done. She's completed that. She goes ahead and publishes the storefront, and she is done with the setup. Now let's see what happens when Charles, one of our shoppers from the business account, which is Mocha Mania, logs into the platform, and the kind of personalized experiences that he's able to see. So while Charles logs in, note that this is a business account, so you can have multiple shoppers that are part of this business account, Charles being the buyer manager of Mocha Mania being one of them. So when Charles scrolls down, he sees that there is a 20% off on Bigfoot bars. He's super excited. He wonders what Bigfoot bars are. He clicks on it. He's taken to the search landing page where he sees a huge selection of Bigfoot protein bars that are at a special discount just for him. So he's obviously, he is pretty excited. He adds a bunch of them to cart and places an order, and thereby getting our marketing manager and Alpine Coffee B2B their first order for Bigfoot bars. Now with that done, I'd like to just recap what you've just seen. In order to create a personalized shopper experience on B2B commerce, Lauren had to do three things. First, she created her segment on Data Cloud and associated it with a buyer group in commerce. Second, she went and created her targeted experience, which is a targeted promotion that was, and link it with a promotion segment, which was that Data Cloud segment that she just created. No, remember that she used, the merchant agent to do that. And thirdly, she created a beautiful shopper experience for shoppers falling into that segment by creating expression-based variations on the commerce storefront. That's it, and I will give it to Saket for taking you through the same on B2C commerce.
Awesome. That's super cool that Lauren could set up a differentiated storefront experience for Charles, which can be then exposed and you grow your business on the B2B front. So while you do all of that on the B2B front, what about B2C? Now, what you can do is share the data that is generated on the B2C storefront to your Data Cloud provisioned org. To do that, what is it that they want to do? So first of all, when now you log in to your business manager, you can navigate to site preferences. Within site preferences, you would see a new option coming up, which is dedicated towards Data Cloud. You pass in the tenant ID of the Data Cloud, and along with that, what you associate is the set of features that you want to share so that that particular set of data is now shared to Data Cloud. And as Amulya had shown earlier, now you can go ahead and create segments based on the data that you choose to share to Data Cloud. Now, in this particular case, we are the options that are available as of today are cart, profile, product, wish list, checkout, order, search, consent. While you share all of these data, you have many more options coming up in the future. Once this is carried out, what else does Lauren need to do now to complete the entire process of personalization for her users? Talking about the business manager again. Now, once we have shared the data within the setup or the feature selection, you would see two new features coming up. The Data Cloud enabled for anonymous shoppers and the Data Cloud for registered shoppers. These are new features which are hidden behind the feature switches. So as of today, within your site administration, what you would see that how the page is looking like. The page is just a very basic page. As soon as we go back, the merchant or Lauren here chooses that I want to build my store with these features. She clicks on apply. We would see that the page has changed. Now, this page will have a couple of more options. These are similar options that we saw in the B2B part as well. That what is the data space that you want to use? What is the API that you would be using so that the data is in sync? So, the data is shared, the segments are created. Now, what do we need to do next? Once this is carried out, what Lauren can do is, Lauren can now create a customer group. Lauren can go to a customer group now. So, she navigates to a customer group. What we would be doing here is we would be creating a new customer group which is based out of a Data Cloud segment. Here, you would see that there are 3 groups that are created. We just opened up the first one, the registered. And within this, now you can see that there is an additional option, which is segments powered by Salesforce CDP. Now, this segment is of a same name of what was created within Data Cloud. So the segment that is created on Data Cloud is now linked to a customer group created on eCom Business Manager. So we have here 3 different segments that are created for registered users, for unregistered users, and one is for everything. Once we have created a segment, we have associated that to a segment, what do we do next? What we do is we create a campaign. When we are creating a campaign, what we will do here is that we will associate the campaign to the customer group that we had created, and we'll create a differentiated experience for different users. So the first one that you're seeing on the screen right now is a campaign that is created for my guest users, where I have associated the customer group of guests, and I have created a promotion. This promotion is specific if you are a guest customer onto the storefront. Now, what am I doing in this offer is we are giving you a 20% product discount on Xbox if you are a registered user. Let's look at another case where my user is now a guest user, registered user. For the registered users, the process is similar. We go ahead, we associate a campaign to customer group, and for this, we are specifying the product to be Sony PS3. The next, what we have done here is we have done for the every user. Now, for all users, we have created a promotion which is targeted for the product of iPod. So what have we done here? We have created 3 different segments on Data Cloud. associated those 3 different segments to 3 different customer groups on e-commerce. Once the association is done for each of these customer groups, we have defined that if a shopper is belonging to any of this customer group, this is the differentiated storefront experience that you will get. How does that look like for my shopper? Now, as a shopper, once you log in, the first piece that you see is consent that gets shared back to Data Cloud. In this case, I can see that my user is not logged in. It's not a registered user. How do I identify that? One way of identifying that we are using here is with the help of a cookie. We are using the DW anonymous cookie to identify the user is unregistered or a guest user. Now, what had we done? We had created segments. For guest users, we had created a promotion for the product iPod where you should see an experience that you are getting some discounted product. In addition to that, the guest user should also be accessing the promotion which is created for that particular guest user, which is an offer on Xbox. Okay, we had created another segment. That segment was for a registered user, which was for PlayStation. Now, given that the user is guest, the user could not see the offer on the PlayStation just by association. Now, let's have a look at it once Akshaya, who's our end user, logs into her account. She has been a loyal user for my storefront who has been purchasing from my storefront a lot. What does she get in advance to what everyone else is getting? I could see that Akshaya has now logged in. I could see access to the data, the orders, and everything else around it. Now, the offer that was tailored for Akshaya was for iPod and for PlayStation. iPod I could see because this particular promotion was created for all users. Now, let's look at Sony PS3 because that was specific to the registered users. There you go. She's seeing that access as well. Additionally, just to explore a use case, what you would see that for Xbox 360, which was only targeted for my guest users, Akshaya, who's now logged in, cannot see that particular offer for her. So what we did here was, with the help of the segments created on Data Cloud, we associated a customer group. We drove those personalized experiences for the different set of users. So what we have covered so far is if you go back to the 3 pillars that we have spoken about, we enabled the customer by setting up the Data Cloud. We covered on what is the personalization that we can carry out. The 3rd pillar was how we can track it, how we can see that is my merchant getting productive or not. For that, what we now have is on top of the data that is residing in Data Cloud, we have some analytical capability built in. Now note, this is an additional analytical capability that you have now. What do you get as soon as you take the product? The first dashboards that you see is basically how are your products doing within your dashboards. What are your top performing products? What are your top performing product categories? What are the products my customers are most searching for? All of this information is now available within the storefront on Product Intelligence dashboard. In addition to product intelligence, what you also get is shopper intelligence. Now this will capture a trend of how shoppers are coming onto your storefront. The purchases that are happening, are they happening from repeat customers or are they happening for new customers? What is the CLV that you are generating out of a shopper? All of this information is now consolidated within shopper intelligence. We have covered what we are selling. We have covered to whom we are selling. But it's very essential to know that do we have enough to sell? Can I plan for my holiday season? With the help of inventory intelligence, this information is now readily available to you to plan. Now, while these 3 dashboards that you're getting out of the box are targeting the merchant, the shopper, and the inventory, what you also get is unified insights. This unified insight is not just talking about store metrics, it's suggesting what is an additional thing that you can do to boost your store performance. You are seeing that the search is not resulting in a sale of a product. You want to create a boost and bury rule. You can now go ahead and do that. And this unified insight page is a starting page which shows you the trend of how the shopper is engaging with the store. Now, while we talk about these 4 dashboards, these are the dashboards that are built within the licenses that you get. Within the license, within the SKU that you purchase, what you get is an inbuilt license for CRM analytics, wherein you get these dashboards, but you also get a capability to build your own dashboards. With that, what is specific to your business need, you want to build something very specific with respect to the data that is there on Data Cloud, you can go ahead and build that as well. That's commerce today. We covered the B2B part, we covered the B2C part. So, in short, we spoke about the unified commerce. We made sure that we are set up for success by setting up the Data Cloud piece. We spoke about a couple of examples, one on B2B, one on B2C front, and then we wrapped it off with the analytics to measure how the store has been performing. On behalf of Amulya and myself, I would like to thank you all for being with us and hearing this out. All right, if there are no open questions, we are here for the next few minutes. So in case you want to come by, just drop in, say a hi, and we can talk more about these spaces. Thank you so much, everyone.